Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome. It's nice to see everybody on this fine Wednesday, March 26th meeting. I will call the meeting to order at 9:02 a.m. and I'll ask everyone to stand for the singing of our national anthem, please.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Cattle si porti con ispoliti as one sense can stand on. Canada, we stand on. Stand on.
Before we jump into say this morning.
Thank you very much, Mayor Dodds. The town has been celebrating achievements that council has made recently, and council did approve their 2025 strategic priorities in relative speed and ease. We've had the opportunity to present other members of council with their stars, and this morning it's my pleasure to present to Deputy Mayor Monica Sheriffs her star for those accomplishments. So if you'd come forward for the presentation, please.
Oh, funny. Oh. So you might be wondering in the gallery, like, wow, this is quite the accomplishment. So it could go the other way, is that that administration's quite surprised that council actually pulled this off and put it together in that quick a time. So this could be yeah, presented, I'm not sure, or received in like great job or right. Yeah, we did a great job. We did it in record time, but we weren't dragging our feet. So congratulations, Monica. Okay, so this morning, is there a member of council that would like to, or are there any additions to the agenda first of all? No additions? Does council have any additions?
I think I can ask those questions in a like the roundtable discussion. Probably it's about the speed limit on a range road, on a ring road.
Yeah, we can add that under. We'll do that to number 12.2. Roundtable discussions, ring road. Okay. Okay.
Throw it out there. I just want to have a discussion about participating in Earth Day. I understand Weyerhaeuser is contributing or partially covering the cost of rain barrels. So I'd like us to consider contributing some seeds, give away some seeds at the same time in celebration of Earth Day.
Perfect.
So we can look at that. Thank you.
Okay, so under 12.2, we'll have two roundtable discussions there as additions. Is there a member of council that would like to adopt the agenda for the March 26, 2025 regular meeting of council minutes with the A and B, we'll say under the roundtable discussions, 12.2 A and B? Thank you very much, Councillor Sheriffs. All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Thank you for that. Next up on the agenda, we have any corrections or amendments to the March 12th, 2025 regular meeting of council minutes? Nothing. Is there a member of council who'd like to adopt the March 12th, 2025 regular meeting of council minutes? Councillor Evans, thank you very much for that. All in favor?
In favor.
In favor.
Thank you for that. We have no proclamations, no public hearings, but we do have 3 delegations this morning. So first up is 7.1, Pembina Regional Aerodrome Association. Good morning and welcome. Do you want to come down to the podium?
Good morning, and thank you for having us.
The mic should be on. It's
Perfect.
green. That's
It's green, so you're ready to go. And can you see it up here as well?
no, that's okay. I can make it do.
There we go.
There, that's a little easier than you're having to turn your head all the time.
Okay, thanks. Do you want to start?
Okay,
Yeah, so we're at the Drayton Valley Airport, Pembina Regional Aerodrome Association, and the Drayton Valley Flying Club. So Tom,
first of all, we were here last year about the same time with the same request. And I have an apology to make because I knew that we had to get it in by September of last year for the budget. And I take full responsibility for not pushing this hard enough and getting this through at that time. So we are a bit late, and I realize that the budget has been set. However, I'm hoping that we can somehow make this work. This year we have it's a paving issue. So we have the actual cost from Border Paving. And as I understand, they will be here this summer. So the timing couldn't be better if this project were to be proceeding. Because they are here, they could just zip out to the airport and do our project as well. So.
okay. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about what we need to do. The airport's, I'll just give you a little update. The airport gets used quite a bit throughout the year, daily for planes coming and going from all different occasions. We do have a couple of functions throughout the year where there's lots of extra people. We host an open house once a year. And I know a lot of you guys have been to it, but it brings out a lot of people and a lot of extra people just to show around the open house when we do that. And there's always lots of planes. One thing that we've done with the airport, just to bring awareness, is we got these, we call it plane train. So all these little kids, plane train, kind of a ride that pulls behind a little garden tractor. It's been really popular. We've had it to several things in the last year. It was in the parade, was in, I don't know, a lot of different things around town, just to sort of continue raising awareness. The airport also gets used lots with some little bit larger planes. These are air ambulances that are in fairly regular. This was just a couple of days ago. It was out there and I was there and it drove by, so I snapped a picture. The air ambulances typically do transfers from the ambulance to the air ambulance to take them when they have to fly. If there's an infant there, they can't go on a helicopter, they can't go on stars. So infants always go on these, and they get used depending where they're going as well. If they're going to Edmonton, it would be typically stars unless they're an infant. If they're going Red Deer or Calgary or some other place, these come out. So that's one of the uses. But really what we want to talk about is our pavement. There's 3 areas on the taxiway that are cracked quite severely. It needs an overlay of pavement in 3 areas. There's one area, another, and the third. The problem with the cracking is when these planes come, the planes have a big propeller that blows. If any rocks come up, they come loose, it blows and hits the back of the plane, like hits their elevator. And it's not good. It's a safety concern. And we've tarred them as much as we could. but there is these three areas.
The other-
Overall,
Sorry, Jerry, the other thing is that we do have jets coming in, and if they ingest any of this foreign object debris or FOD, well, that's multi-million-dollar damage. So a lot of aircraft do not use this taxiway, Charlie, simply because of that condition of it. So they have to go back onto the runway and backtrack down the runway to get from apron to apron.
so you can sort of see on this picture, it's the red part. It's not a lot amount. It's a small amount. It's 900 square meters, I think is what they said. Something like that. It's like, it's not a, it's not that big. The rest of the runway and the rest of the airport is actually in really good condition. All the runways and the rest is good. It's just this one part that needs an overlay. So this went in, like Tom was saying, in about the same time last year, he presented to council. And then I'd also presented with the capital budget so that it would be in for this year, I thought, but apparently it's not. So, so the Brazeau County has approved and they have it in their capital budget to do in May this year. They're putting in up to $40,000. And we had requested the town would do the same to cover the town's half of it. We got a quote of 60,000, just a few dollars shy of 60,000 from Border Paving, which is in your agenda. And to resurface this whole taxiway. So it's, so it should come in under 40,000, but you guys have seen paving. I'm sure the town gets it all the time. They get out there and there's something a little bit extra or whatever they need to do. But, looking at they came out, they looked and their quote is a firm quote for just under 60,000. And then again, the rest of the airport's excellent condition. It was all crack sealed and painted last year. So it's only with the one portion of the taxiways that need this. And so anyhow, let's continue to keep this airport good. But really what our ask is if we could come up with a budget to match what the Brazeau County has of about $40,000, this would be done soon over the summer is when Border Paving's in town doing work for the town. That's when they would ideally like to do it. So that's all.
That's your presentation. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm going to open it up to Mr. Vincent first, and then I'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through the chair to all members of council. In my many years of municipal experience, I've worked in 3 municipalities where we've had airports. I've had the pleasure to be involved with the construction, operation, and maintenance of airports in Elk Point, Alberta, Slave Lake, Alberta, and in Westlock, Alberta. Runways and repavement is always a need. I've had the pleasure to tour the Drayton Valley Airport, and I can confirm what these gentlemen are saying with regard to the state of the runways. I certainly, we can move forward on this. We get confirmation from Brazeau County that they're going to contribute 50% of these costs. The administration will have to look in our budget and bring a report back to council in the matter. And so when it comes under business rising from delegations, we would recommend council pass a resolution directing administration to do just that. Just on confirmation or clarification, you have 2 quotes here, one for 80,000 and one for 60,000. Who did the first quote come from, sir?
Actually, last year we presented, and you should have that. There were 4 quotes, and one of them was with Border Paving. And last year, the town selected Border Paving because theirs was the lowest quote, and also they would be here this year. And so last year, the town asked me to get a firm price, not just an estimate. So that is exactly the same as their estimate. It's 60,000.
59,827 plus GST.
So they came and looked at it and they said they can do it for that.
So in your presentation, you said the range between 60,000 and 80,000. I see a document in here that is for 81,873.95. So I just want to confirm where that number came from and from whom, and is that for the same amount of work?
Well, the quotes ranged from 60 to 80,000.
So there's 3 in our package. Mr. Vincent. So there is, the first one is for the 81. And then I believe there's a 78, a 59,718. That's the one from, because some of the stuff is redacted. And then there's a 59,827. Is that correct? There's 4, 5, 6 in here?
There's
There's
4.
four.
So I think to answer your question, there's Northwest Paving, Border Paving, and
Okay.
trying to think of the other one. It's there.
That's okay.
Anyhow, they're from different companies, and Border was the lower of them.
Okay,
And they also do a lot of work for the town.
yes,
So
yeah, I'm very familiar with Border
Here's the
Paving.
exact price. Border came back with an exact price, $59,718.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would have to, this quote was from last year, from 2024.
Well, they realized that they would be doing it this year, so.
Okay.
They were
hopefully
bidding
it
for
will
this year's
stand.
work.
And I would expect there may be 15-20% added to that particular total, given tariffs and inflation and supply chain and all the rest of the story that goes along with it. So $80,000 is a reasonable estimate. That. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
So have you touched base recently with Border Paving about this quote?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so when was the last time that you would have been when you received the quote last?
Was last fall.
in the fall, we talked to them.
In the fall, okay. Just going to open it up for questions from council. Councilor Evans, do you have a question?
No, I was just, had a concern as well if we'd got a competitive process there. And it looks like we do, so, other than maybe updating the cost for this year, yeah, I'm fine with what we have in front of us.
Okay. Do I have any questions from Councilor Gabbana or Councilor Clark online?
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay.
No, thank
So thank you. Oh, thank you for that, Amila. So I do know we had the pleasure of visiting you a couple times. You came to council, and then we also came out to the airport and got a better understanding of the highlights and your wish list items and things like this. This ask was, is this still one of your number one things that were on your
This
wish?
was our number one thing last year that we thought was,
Okay, so it's still the
Yeah.
number one, that's the crack filling?
Yeah.
So the repair was estimated at $500,000. Was that for a bigger portion or something? I don't know why I have that in my notes. Or was there something else that was included with that?
that's replacing the terminal building.
Or was that
But
replace?
yeah, and that is not a pressing thing for this year. That'll be like probably still a few years down the road. And the repaving is also a big one, but right now our runway is in excellent condition. It's probably 5 or 7 years out or maybe more.
Okay, so maybe that's why I have because I have repair $500,000 beside my notes there, so I was just wondering.
Our terminal building has got uneven floors and it's going to soon need something.
Yeah,
But it's not like critical this year. It's working. You know,
Okay.
that's a few years down the road.
okay,
And we have been working for several years on grants towards this. And we found it's very difficult to get a grant for something that is not specifically aircraft related, such as runways, taxiways, and so on. Terminal building is not considered essential. So grants are pretty hard to come by for that.
so we were supportive of a grant last year. What was the grant for? Was it for this particular project or was it something else?
That would have been for the crack filling and the line painting.
Okay, so that's where that went to. And then we also talked about at our meeting was the potential of revenue for the society and for the community. Have you kind of furthered any of those? I know we talked about aircraft mechanic businesses, flight school, plane painter, search and rescue, things like that. Can you tell us if there've been any changes on any of those?
So there's 2 small flight schools now operating out of Drayton Valley.
Okay,
So which we're pleased to do. They're both small, but there's that which we've been able to do, which is kind of a good thing. And then there's the ones that are at them are coming from sort of all over Canada. There's not very many that do this kind of flight training. So good way to describe it.
Right.
Like they're coming here and spending a month in the motel to get trained.
Oh,
So
wow.
there is that. But that's, we haven't attracted a mechanic yet.
Okay, so the hopes that you'd still be able to work through that. So with having that flight training here, you're saying from two different flight training options here, or opportunities here in the community, ensuring that we have an upgraded and good airport that's in running condition supports all of these types of, I guess, ideas and
It does
potential
support
revenue.
that. It's soon becoming a safety issue on the one taxi, like, because the large planes they just can't taxi on that one, so. And it is, in our view, in the airport, it's a pretty small section. It's like, it's just, really most of the airport is good. There's just this one section that's not. And it was, really, it was damaged when they had the big water trucks in Thunder in the Valley going through, is when it kind of broke it up.
Okay,
So that's when it got damaged, and we've just been kind of crack filling a little bit, tiring over to keep it from blowing out.
yeah,
And also that section of the taxiway is rather dished. It's a concave section where everything else has been crowned. And so we're hoping if we can get an overlay, talking with Border Paving, they cannot crown it with one overlay, but they could potentially make it flat. At least then it would be easier to clean and clear the snow off. We wouldn't have all the debris in the middle.
yeah, absolutely. Did you have another question, Councillor Evans? Go ahead.
So, but Border is pretty comfortable that the structure underneath there is well suited to an overlay and it'll hold up?
They came and looked at it. So.
Okay, I just hate to see in a year or two, after a few big planes roll over there, your new pavement is not holding up because it should have maybe
Yeah,
got
that's
some
our-
base work done.
That was our concern. And so they looked at that section and they said, this is all that we can do with an overlay. There are some other taxiways going to the hangars, and that paving is so bad, they said we cannot.
Yeah,
The
you'd have to
overlay would be
pull it up.
exactly like you're saying, it would just crumble in a few years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from Council or Administration this morning? So I think, Mr. Vincent, you said that we'll discuss this when we get to our decision or our business arising from the delegations, bullet point 8, and that there could be, or for a decision item, sorry, a resolution for our next meeting. Okay, perfect. And you said you have already taken this to Brazeau County. They've approved the $40,000, and you're just looking at the $40,000 from the town of Drayton Valley to match that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much for your presentation this morning. We'll be talking about this a little bit later on in our decision items, and then administration will be reaching out to you for the kind of the next steps and when the report's coming back to council.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Well, yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming. Next up, delegation, we have 7.2, Alberta Forest Productions Association. Thanks for coming in. Well, good morning and welcome. If you just want to start by introducing yourself to everyone, and then you can get started with your presentation this morning.
Thank you. My name is Rory Costa. I'm the Executive Director of Alberta Woodworks, part of the Alberta Forest Products Association. Oh, I got that. Control.
You can see it good up here?
Yep. You can all hear me all right?
Yep.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And for those of you who are not familiar with our organization, the Alberta Forest Products Association, otherwise referred to as the AFPA, represents forest companies across the province that produce everything from lumber and pulp to bioenergy and engineered wood products. Today, I want to talk about some of the most pressing trade challenges facing our sector, particularly rising softwood lumber duties, U.S. trade barriers, and global competition, and what we can do to safeguard Alberta's forest industry for the future. The stakes are high. Alberta's forestry sector contributes significantly to our economy, yet it is increasingly at risk due to factors beyond our control: trade and tariffs, regulatory hurdles, and shifting global trade landscape. We're here today to discuss some of the ways we can mitigate these risks. The industry supports over 30,000 jobs across Alberta, many in rural areas where forestry is a primary employer, similar to Drayton Valley. In addition to direct employment, forestry contributes to transportation, construction, engineering, and manufacturing, creating a ripple effect across multiple sectors. Approximately 50% of Alberta's forest products are exported to the United States, making trade a key component of our industry's success. The rising trade barriers threaten our ability to compete and grow as an industry. These factors risk the livelihood of your community. So what can we do? Trade barriers and tariffs on the Canadian softwood lumber. In the current situation, right now, softwood lumber duties are at 14.5%, already a significant burden on Alberta producers. By the summer of 2025, these duties are projected to exceed 30%, more than double their current rate. On top of that, the United States 25% tariffs could push trade barriers past 50%, making it nearly impossible for lumber mills to remain competitive. The Trump tariffs would also impact products like pulp and wood panels that are not currently subject to local tariffs. Well, some of the solutions we can do, Alberta's government has a critical role in to play in ensuring our forestry sector remains strong despite these challenges. One of the most important steps is strong advocacy at the federal and international levels. Alberta needs to push back against unfair trade practices and communicate why these tariffs hurt both Canadians and Americans. Lumber duties are a tax on U.S. Consumers. The U.S. housing market depends on Canadian wood to help keep prices stable. The United States simply cannot produce enough lumber domestically, and even with tariffs, they still need our products. Alberta's forest industry supports thousands of American jobs. Pulp from Alberta is key input in U.S. paper, packaging, and manufacturing. And I did find out yesterday in diapers, which was new information to me. I didn't realize that. The forest industry in Alberta buys many products that are made in the U.S., including machinery, trucks, resins for wood panels, and technologies. By working closely with the federal government, Alberta must push for a fair and long-term resolution to the softwood lumber dispute. Trade barriers are only one part of the challenge. Domestic policies also impact our ability to compete. British Columbia's high regulatory costs have led to many mill closures and job losses. Alberta is already a leader in forestry competitiveness, but this needs to continue to be a focus. Competitive timber dues and streamlined permitting will help mills operate efficiently and remain viable. Keeping costs manageable protects jobs and ensures continued investment in Alberta's forestry sector. One way to counteract trade uncertainty is to boost domestic demand. Encouraging more construction with Alberta-grown and Alberta-manufactured wood can reduce reliance on exports. A Build with Alberta Wood Act could be a powerful policy tool to incentivize local use. We've seen in BC and Quebec have already implemented similar programs with great success. Promoting mass timber construction and engineered wood products could drive innovation and create new markets for Alberta lumber. As you can see here, this tall building is a 17-story wood building. One story of concrete, the remaining 17 stories on top is actually mass timber. It's built with wood. One of the interesting parts with this building is this building went up in 45 working days. We see a huge advantage of using mass timber and wood in buildings like this. The sister building that was going up at the same time and other materials took over a year to build. Since 2016, $10 billion in duty deposits have been held by the U.S. Treasury, funds rightfully belonging to Canadian producers. This financial strain weakens mills, limits investment, and threatens jobs. A federal financial backstop could provide much needed relief, helping mills weather this crisis until a long-term trade resolution is reached. Alberta must push the federal government to act, ensuring our industry gets the support it needs to remain competitive and resilient. Alberta needs to look beyond the U.S. and aggressively pursue new trade opportunities. Growth markets such as India, the Philippines, China, Japan, and Korea or offer significant potential. Alberta should be actively making its forestry products abroad and supporting industry participation in trade missions and international partnerships. A diversified market approach reduces our vulnerability to U.S. trade policy and strengthens long-term resilience. But to do this, we need to make sure we have reliable transportation for our product as well. That is why the AFPA and our members are active and support the Community Rail Advocacy Alliance. The voices of participating municipalities have been especially valuable. To remain competitive, we need innovation and investment in value-added forestry products. A forestry manufacturing tax credit would encourage companies to invest in new technologies and products. This could support initiatives like bioenergy, engineered wood, and high-tech forestry solutions, securing Alberta's place as a leader in sustainable forestry. This tax credit has already been proposed, and now it is time for action. Alberta's forest industry is strong, but we face real challenge that's requiring immediate action. Strong advocacy, smart policy decisions, and continued support from municipalities, we can overcome these challenges and secure a prosperous future for our communities. Our call to action today, we are asking you to send a letter of support to the Premier alongside advocacy to the local MP or MLA, which I'd be also happy to provide a template on that letter. And thank you for your time. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I will open it up for questions. Councillor Evans, do you have a question?
So I read an article the other day about companies moving down to the States because the main reason it seemed was because not the lumber, but the trees were cheaper down there because a lot of it's private land, and they can get their timber cheaper than up here. You know, and I know the trade with the U.S. They've had issues for decades, I think, from what I've seen. So what's the bottom line there? Is the various levels of government charging too much in, I think it's stumpage or stump fees? And it's cheaper in the U.S. I've never really got a real handle on exactly why the States is constantly trying to apply higher tariffs. I mean, even before all this stuff with the most recent president down there. Can you sort of fill in a couple of those blanks?
Probably to a point that I might get in trouble or saying something incorrect. My background,
Well, that's just what we're looking for.
my background is the built form, so I'm not hugely knowledgeable about the tariffs and stuff behind back and forth. From what I understand is that because in Canada, forests are crown land and they charge a stumpage fee cutting any trees, whereas the U.S., as you had mentioned, it's private. So the U.S. has always been putting tariffs on because they feel that the Canadian market has an unfair advantage. So they always charge extra tariffs on top of it. In Canada right now, or in Alberta anyways, the province has decided to add additional fee from 14% to 30% this year. And then there's the potential of the tariffs coming from the U.S. with an additional 25%. Why it's done that way, I'm not 100% sure. But I will try to get that. I can get that answer for you.
Okay, thanks. I just kind of always wonder, because I know it's been ongoing for such a long time, and you would think at some point there would be a conversation or try and make it right. But I know there's been several applications to the trade organization, and we continue to get rulings, I think, on our side for the most part, but it doesn't seem to matter to the states. They keep hitting us anyway.
That was.
Yeah.
And that's for the type of lumber. They're saying it's cheaper down there, the trees. It's a different species as well. Southern pine versus our SPF basket that we have here. So it is a bit of a different, it's a different type of lumber.
Right, I understand ours is a tighter grain, a higher quality or more strength
Yeah.
lumber.
Yeah. Right. So it's
Gotcha.
hard to, from the built form side, it's hard for our designers and engineers actually to use their lumber because it is a different grade.
Right.
So.
Okay.
That's something.
All righty. Okay, next question. We're currently looking at we're considering a waste to power system. Syngas and generates power mostly in connection with our solid waste, our landfill. But of course, the type of waste that mill produces is ideal for that type of a system as an additive. And again, I may be throwing a question at you that you can't answer, and I'll apologize for that. I know that the mill here it manages to sell much of the sawdust, chips, etc. I think we will be in contact with them. Sorry, I keep looking at you guys while I'm talking to you. Just to see if there's any additional waste that they haven't been able to get rid of. This thing can handle dirty waste, rocks in it, stuff like that maybe there isn't a market for. I don't know. But I think there may be an opportunity there for both parties to kind of make something happen. And I know also in the sustainability committee meeting, we've been talking about possibly looking at a generation plant of sorts, even natural gas to kind of to power sort of down in the valley there. It would be our large municipal buildings down there, of course, the new pool and the Omniplex, et cetera. And I think, we'd also be talking to Weyerhaeuser to see if there's an appetite to come on board with that. And a few other players, of course, we'd have to get natural gas to it. And maybe there's an opportunity to combine those, the waste to power and the natural gas. And I guess I'm not really asking much of a question here. I just see the opportunity to kind of get that out there for some consideration. But yeah, I think it's an opportunity to maybe control costs for both the town and Weyerhaeuser, and maybe help on that side. The last thing we want to do is see our mill go away. So anything we can do to keep it here, we'd be interested in having those conversations. Okay. Lastly, that building you showed, yeah, engineered timber, et cetera, large timber is becoming more and more common. Were the two concrete structures in there, like, were those two elevator shafts? Is that all that's made of concrete?
Yeah.
And then the base is concrete, and then the timber goes on top of that.
Yeah, we promote the use of wood in construction to be utilized, but understanding, and this is a little different than what other competing materials think, that hybrid structures are the way to go. So in that building, large elevator shafts helped with seismic, because that building was in BC.
Right.
Helped with seismic. And you have the floor plates are wood, and the main floor was concrete as well, just because keeping the wood out of water and snow.
Right.
So we look at it as more of a holistic side of saying, well, use steel where it should be used, use concrete where it should be used, but you can also use wood in a lot of places where it's not being utilized.
Right.
Yeah.
larger overhangs, I guess, to
Absolutely.
keep them dry, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So do you think that is there a general acceptance and uptake in on the manufacturing side of things in Canada? And I ask that because I just happen to be looking at some prefabricated home packages about a week ago, and there's many companies that offer sort of a milled type of log, hybrid log, that you can also insulate into a sort of a standard building envelope. But they're all the ones I saw were manufactured in Europe and sent over here, which didn't make a lot of sense to me. And that kind of ties into what I mentioned about, eventually if we can get a power feed down in the valley there, we'd also, of course, like to see if we can attract some manufacturing. And I think, it just kind of makes sense with
Absolutely.
where we are, that would be the kind of manufacturing. So I'm just curious, do you think it's becoming more common? Is there a good uptake from the manufacturing industry, or how are things looking in that respect?
There's more and more manufacturers coming on board. For North America, it is a new innovation in wood production, if you will. I'm out of Edmonton. The local manufacturer there, Western Archer, is in the process of outfitting a whole new plant that's going to triple their production. The last stats that I saw saying by 2030 that within mass timber will increase to $5.3 billion worldwide. But they're seeing an uptake in it. They're gearing up for more and more. We continue to hear places across Alberta that are looking to go down this road. Nobody has pulled the trigger yet. I know there was a new plant that just that's opening up in Nova Scotia that just got a federal grant to help them as well to create cross-laminated timber, which is another a type of mass timber. Something that I'm going to date myself, probably 10 years ago, I think we looked at here in Drayton Valley for the Clean Energy Center when that building was being looked at. We were trying to have that utilized cross-laminated timber at the time. Unfortunately, cost got in the way and it wasn't available. That technology and that innovation is out of Europe. They've been doing it for 20, 30 years already. So they've got their prices way down, and their ownership on their mills and their production is a little different. It is all privately owned there. So they're able to control their costs a little differently in Europe. So they're able to bring their European product over to Canada more economically than what we're able to here. It's just that it's kind of the chicken and the egg question right now in North America.
So you feel that the industry needs to establish itself and work out those efficiencies before they can kind of become competitive with those long established ones?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it just seemed, again, wacky that they can produce it cheaper over there, putting it in a sea can and sending it over here, and we can't compete.
A lot of it is buying their buying business as well. Over there's 100 manufacturers. We have 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So they're trying to just stay busy. So they're also buying product or buying projects.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I've
Thank you.
yacked enough. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councillor Evans, for that. Yeah, these are definitely challenging times, and the uncertainty that what lies ahead for all of us is mind-blowing for sure. I think you're right when you talk about working together. That's something that has never been so important than I think any time is that we're seeing that supporting Canada, supporting Alberta. You talk about Build Alberta Wood Act and things like that. How are we improving the competitiveness and infrastructure when we're reaching those builders and developers to try to support this? Like what's happening? I know you're talking about that, there's that new innovation in the wood production, and we're going to start to see that coming forward. But how do we help? We have control when it comes to things like policy, right? So we can be looking at our policy when you talk about the Build Alberta Act and incorporating maybe in builds, or we talk about art policy. So maybe we look at a Build Alberta policy in, you know, development that's happening in the community. How do we help and how do we move this forward, and what types of things are happening to ensure that it's moving quickly?
Sure. Well, we're working on a Build with Wood Act. We're not probably going to land on that name because it's too specific. We want people to still have the opportunity to use other materials, but any buildings that Drayton Valley is building themselves has public money involved. Specify that wood needs to be considered as part of the structure of that project. Right? Prove that and have those designers prove that it is not economical. Because right now we know it is. Right now what we see is it's easier to go with what we've known and what we've done in the past. We can do a pre-engineered steel building very simply and easy. We've done 17,000 of them. We can do another one. We know the costs are there. It's a little bit outside of their scope to look at using structural wood for it. So they kind of just say, no, we're just going to do it this way because we can copy and paste over and do it. So if you have a municipality saying, you know, we are a wood-based community, we want to see wood in our buildings. Doesn't have to be all of it, but we would like to see some of it be incorporated and go from there.
So this is a question for administration. Is that something that we can have a conversation or discuss a little bit further, Mr. Vincent, about when we're looking at our policies? Just as Rory had mentioned, that we're trying to support that. We have Weyerhaeuser here. We want to ensure that we're employing, you know, our community and having those trickle down jobs. We talk about the pulp mill, we talk about the shavings, the finger jointing, all of that, right? We want to have a healthy industry. So what can we do as leaders through policy? I know that today there's an ask for a letter of support, but, you know, additionally, how can we support better or help?
Madam Mayor, to the chair and through the chair to all members of council, I think the ideal opportunity for that conversation will be on April 16th at the next Economic Development Committee meeting. That would be the appropriate forum. You know, give staff a couple of weeks' time to prepare some background material, and for council to have a very fruitful and engaged conversation. And from there, provide administration with direction in terms of formulation of policies to support the industry.
And we do have the Dirt to Door coming up. Remind me, what is the date of that?
April 25th.
April 25th.
Friday, April 25th.
And do we have staged questions, or are we kind of running it open house? Just wondering, because this could be something that could be incorporated in that discussion, right? Is that Building Alberta, supporting Alberta? How are our local developers feeling about incorporating in?
I'll invite Ms. Whaley to respond if she might come down to the microphone so that everyone can hear.
Sure, that'd be wonderful. Good morning, thank you.
Morning, Madam Mayor and Council presenters. The Dirt to Door breakfast, yes, it is including everything, right from the landowner moving the land, building on it. So yes, we could definitely incorporate the Build Alberta concept into that without a whole lot of difficulty.
So do you think that it would be wise to have a representative from Weyerhaeuser maybe attend that Dirt to Door as well, or could we send them an invitation?
We can absolutely send an invitation. If you leave your card afterwards, I'll get an invitation to you directly. We don't have a sort of staged question situation, as it's, you know, a large portion originally was based on, you know, building in Drayton Valley.
Yeah.
Motivating how to or what you need to be building in Drayton Valley, and the steps and processes you need to take through planning and licensing. So
To do that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it might be a really good opportunity to get the community engaged in talking about it. I know that when you look at, you know, architectural design and you see how wood or mass timbers incorporate it, it's a great opportunity even for home builders. You see more of, you know, they're mixing your materials where you'll have your stucco, you'll have the bigger vinyl siding, plus you'll have the wood, right, incorporated. It's kind of a trending and kind of a design element too. So it might be a good place to continue that opportunity. Okay, so we'll look forward to that coming to our next economic development, just to talk a little bit more about policy and how we can align that with what's happening with the tariffs and supporting our forest industry. So it's a strong and healthy one that remains strong and healthy in our province and in our community. We want to ensure that for sure. You did mention letter of support. Do you have a template specifically that we could work with? That would be wonderful if you could provide that to administration, and then that just helps us craft that a little bit, and then we'll be sure to CC you on that. And we'll be sending that to the Premier, to our MP, to our MLA. Anyone else that we would want to include, AFPA, Weyerhaeuser on that letter?
I think that's sufficient.
Okay. Do we have any other questions from administration or council this morning? No, it doesn't sound like anyone online. Well, thank you very much for your presentation this morning. We appreciate you taking the time and coming to speak with us. As I had mentioned, these are challenging times. We're having to adapt, I think, daily or hourly, depending on what's happening in the States right now during these times. But we're here to support you, and we're here to ensure that Weyerhaeuser is vibrant and healthy in our community, and we continue working together in every possible way that we can. We'll get the letter of support, and after we have our meeting through economic development, talk a little bit about policy. Can we reach out to either one or both of you to kind of help with that, if we have any policy questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So that wraps up our second delegation. We do have a third delegation this morning, which is 7.3, All Paw Rescue Society.
I believe, Madam Mayor, they are scheduled for 10 a.m. So we have a few minutes.
I think, are you ready to go? Are you expecting anyone else? Okay, that's wonderful.
Fabulous.
Do you want to come down to the podium? That'd be wonderful. Yes, come to the podium, please. Introduce yourself. It's nice to see you this morning. Welcome. Thank you for coming to council.
Yes, absolutely. My name is Buddy James O'Clair. I'm the president of All Paw Rescue Society.
Okay.
I am here to present it. Well, before we get started, I just kind of wanted to say a few things. Sorry for not having a slideshow ready for you guys. Also, I'm not a big public speaker. I'm usually the guy in the back getting his hands dirty. So bear with me. Go easy on me.
No worries. We're very easygoing. It's laid back setting. Yeah, just
Thank you.
yeah, share with us why you're here, and then we'll ask some questions after.
Sure. So my name is Buddy James O'Clair. I am the president of the All Paw Rescue Society. We are an organization dedicated to rescuing, rehabilitating, and rehoming animals in need. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. While we officially registered as a society on March 5th, this initiative has been in the works for quite some time. We put in months of planning and preparation to ensure a thoughtful, impactful approach. I'm also pleased to share that we'll be presenting to the County Council on April 1st, as we believe strategic partnerships with both town and county are key to our long-term success and community impact. At All Paw Rescue, our mission is simple but essential: to provide a safe, nurturing environment for animals in need and prepare them for successful permanent adoptions. Excuse me. In the Drayton Valley area alone, there has been a 40% increase in abandoned and stray animals in recent years. This highlights the urgent need for more shelter and services and support systems in our community. What will truly set All Paw Rescue apart is the depth of our commitment to every animal's journey. We won't just be offering shelter, we will be building a transformative experience. Animals in our care won't simply be housed, they will be healed, guided, and genuinely prepared for life in a forever home. Our comprehensive hands-on approach will include dedicated in-shelter care paired with personalized behavior and obedience training, helping each animal grow in confidence, trust, and adaptability. We recognize this process may take a little longer, but this is where most rescues fall short. Without addressing the root cause of behavioral issues, too many animals are passed over and never adopted. At All Paw Rescue, we will be tackling the challenge head on. Our goal is to ensure that every animal doesn't just leave our care, but leaves ready to thrive in their new life, giving them the best chance of a lasting, loving home. Additionally, we will be incorporating live virtual interactions through partnerships with companies like TreatView Incorporated. Their virtual technology will allow potential adopters to engage with animals remotely, broadening exposure, improving adoption rates, and reducing shelter turnaround times. Through community donations, we've already received valuable training tools such as an exercise pool, treadmills, toys, and other essential gear to help support our animals' development. Beyond that, we're developing sustainable revenue streams to strengthen our financial footing, like offering exclusive All Paw pet products through our website, allpawrescue.com, as well as services like dog walking and virtual training sessions. We're also proud to have the support of respectable local business owners who are not just supported, but founding members of All Paw Rescue. Troy Sullivan of Sullivan Meats has generously offered access to discarded fats and meats that will significantly reduce food costs for our animals. Ferland Church from Two Square Contracting has pledged support for construction at our kennel and constructing of our kennels and other facility spaces at reduced rate. Their involvement from day one has been instrumental in helping us offset key startup expenses and laying a strong foundation for our future. All Paw Rescue will not just be an animal rescue, it will be a community initiative. We plan to generate local employment opportunities, including roles for animal care workers, behavioral specialists, and administration staff. At the same time, we'll engage youth volunteers, offering hands-on experience and encouraging them to take part in events and community outreach programs. This will help foster compassion, responsibility, and civic pride in our younger generation. We've developed a startup budget of approximately $122,000 to cover staffing, veterinary and professional services, lease agreements, facility improvements, kennel construction, equipment, marketing, and volunteer support programs. To meet these needs, we will be applying for funding through several avenues, including Drayton Valley Community Foundation, PetSmart Charities, Canada Summer Jobs, Alberta Community Initiative programs. We'll also be generating revenue through adoption fees, pursuing corporate sponsorships, and organizing bottle drives and other community-based fundraisers. A major part of our mission will be to promote responsible pet ownership and directly reduce reliance on unethical breeding operations, such as puppy mills and backyard breeders. Unfortunately, one of the key reasons people turn to these sources is because they're accessible, convenient, and sometimes cheaper upfront, even in the long-term costs and consequences are far worse, even if the long-term are far worse. All Paw Rescue will provide a compassionate, community-centered alternative. We plan to host frequent, low-cost adoption events, offer discounted adoption days, and mostly importantly, ensure every adopter receives ongoing support, including starter food, training, resources, and guidance. By making adoption more approachable, affordable, and supportive, we will remove many of the barriers that push people towards unethical sources. We'll also work to educate the public on the risk of buying from unregulated breeders and promote the long-term benefits of adopting animals that have been fully vetted, socialized, and trained. In doing so, we won't just help animals in need, we'll help shape a culture of responsibility, compassion, and ethical decision-making across our community. We also plan to work in close collaboration with local bylaw enforcement, veterinary clinics, and other shelters. Our goal is to be a reliable partner in the broader effort to improve animal welfare in our region. Our immediate priority is securing a centrally located facility that meets our current operational needs and allows room for future growth. Our respectful request to town is this: assistance in identifying and securing a sustainable location, help with networking and sponsorship outreach, endorsement for our grant applications, and any available funding or aid, and participating in our upcoming promotional events. Any level of support you can provide would be invaluable. We're genuinely hopeful for your support and partnership, but we also understand if assistance isn't possible at this time. That said, we must let it be known that our commitment to establishing All Paw Rescue remains steadfast and will continue moving forward with determination to bring this much needed service to our community's animals. In the weeks ahead, we're excited to finalize our facility plans, strengthen our grant and sponsorship applications, and launch awareness and fundraising campaigns that will introduce All Paw Rescue to the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I will open it up for questions. Councillor Evans?
I'll jump in here. Well, lots there. Lots there. You've got,
Dedicated.
you've got big plans.
Yes, sir.
And you feel that with 122K, you can make that happen?
For a year and a bit for sure. And then with all of our drives and our sponsorship programs and our affiliates and
So that isn't what you feel, sorry to interrupt. I apologize. That's not your operational costs, is what you figure you folks will need aside from your sponsorships and fundraising? Or is the
operational costs, training, behavioral specialists that we're going to bring in
Yeah.
to make totally difference in the animals
Yeah.
before adoptions, everything that should cover for at least a year and a half.
that 122?
Yes, sir. That is before our raises and our drives and that stuff.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we have a couple of spaces picked out. There's only a few in town that we can pick, and there's like a 5,000 square foot building that would be perfect for growth. It's a much smaller one, but leasing agreements and licensing and all that stuff is like 5,000 to 6,000 a month. So
Yeah, yeah. And that's, I think that 122K is optimistic, maybe.
that's what we're.
And I don't want to,
Sponsorship, hopefully. We'll see.
yeah. Yeah, I think you're probably looking at an annual budget of probably 3 times that much almost. But if you're going to bring in professionals and do all that training, there's a lot of,
The professions will be short time. Our staff and our volunteers and myself included will be taking courses that we'll just be more in-house.
gotcha. And so the online interaction, is that, so do you have like you'd have a webcam in front of a potential animal for adoption? And
So Treatview Incorporated, what they do is they install live stream cameras inside of shelters and rescues where you go on their website and you can view these animals live,
oh, yeah.
interact with them.
Oh, you can actually talk to them and,
Yeah, you can do all of that through subscription based, and then eventually you'll be able to push a button, dispense a treat. There'll be AI integration. whole bunch
Dispense
of
a
other
treat,
things.
too.
That's for them. But yeah, we're looking at the partnership with Treatview is going to be a big one because there'll be somebody in Ontario or whatever that loves an animal
yeah.
that is in our adoption, and they'll go, we want that. There it goes. Another one comes in.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, I just, boy, there's a lot here. You've got some very extensive plans.
It's a much needed thing, we believe, so we're dedicated to make it happen within the community.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to take is a dedicated group of people to get all this work done. So I commend you with your plans and all of the services and advantages you'll give to these animals. Yeah, you've taken on a big job here.
Lots of energy.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
Sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've done your homework for sure. You've done lots of research. You've talked about different programs and opportunities that I haven't heard before when it comes to, animals and adoption and rescuing and things like that. So you mentioned that you registered on March 5th. You don't have a physical location right now. Are you doing this? Are you doing this out of somewhere else right now with some animals or?
So for All Paw Rescue, which is Drayton Valley based, we're looking for a location within Drayton Valley so we can set up.
Okay.
We don't have anything yet. We do again have a couple of options,
Yeah.
but the funding is a little bit of an issue at this time.
Okay, so it's.
We have a kind of a first annual fundraising event, April 26th, which will hopefully allow us to get in position to lease a building if we're not able to maybe get some aid from town or county.
Mhm.
But whatever we have to do to get the money to lease a building, to get constructing of the kennels and move forward is, well, how long that's going to take is how long that's going to take.
Wonderful. So we do have a local organization in the community called Cause for Critters.
Mhm.
So how would this differ? Would you be working with them? Would you be collaborating? Or tell us a little bit about that
Cause
relationship.
for Critters, from what I have understood, and I've spoke with them a little bit through the time, is they kind of house more cats and then they foster their dogs.
Mhm.
Our initiative is to in-house the dog specifically at this time and then go through the training process of those animals. So from ARCS to them, we're going to be more in-house training, in-house kept for the animals, and it's a little bit different process from the other.
Okay. So
rescues.
you've kind of had that conversation to say, how do we kind of fit in, or how do we support? They don't, like you mentioned, they're not housing a lot of dogs, they're housing more cats
Yeah.
now, and
That's kind of how we started, is understanding what the different rescues and organizations in town are doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we're doing to offset what
Yeah.
they're doing.
yeah.
And we're bringing different opportunities than they have, or multiples have at this time with
Yeah.
virtual viewing and so forth and so on.
And you mentioned that you have April 26th, did you say?
Yes,
Your
April
first-
26th, we look to have an event at the CETC building where it'll be our first annual fundraising event, and which will include catering and drinks and entertainment and things like that to try to get the community and companies in and understanding what we do and if they can sponsor, donate, or otherwise, and start building our reputation.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you had a conversation? It says chamber partnership opportunities. Have you had a conversation with the chamber, our local chamber?
I have not just yet. No, we've been trying to get everything together and then also for presenting and things like that. But in the near future, we'll be going to every single one of those associations and seeing if we can get some collaborations going.
And then grants and funding and things like that will kind of come as this starts to.
Yes, now
a bit
that
more
we're
to fruition.
registers, we can start actually applying for the grants that are available to nonprofits like us.
And then so if all of this turns out you got the funding, you're kind of ready to go, where do the dogs come from? How do you get the dogs?
That will be through our local bylaw officers, again, working with FARs and the other, but every single day you see on Facebook and there's always an animal that's needing rescued or that's stray, so it won't be very hard and it won't take long for us to start housing animals from our community, whether that's through Cause for Critters, ARCS, or otherwise.
And you've had all those conversations to kind of prepare and to say, this is the road we're going, this is what we're doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. I'm not sure if anyone online has any questions. Oh, Mr. Vincent has a question. Go ahead.
I'd just like to go back and reconfirm, go slowly for me at the point that the request for support from the town is identification of a location. And then what were the next three things?
So we're looking for help with identifying and securing a sustainable location, help with networking and sponsorship outreach, endorsement for our grant applications that we'll be applying for right away, any available funding or aid that may be available, and just any participation in upcoming future events.
So you said the support to Town of Drayton Valley to identify a secure location, endorsement for grant application, funding and aid for the project, and I think I missed one.
Just endorsing grant applications, funding, sponsorship, just help with networking and sponsorship outreach.
Sponsorship, networking.
Community
And participation.
participation would be great.
Now, with the aspect of funding, is there a specific amount in mind?
We were looking at maybe seeing if around $10,000 would be in the budget, but I'm not exactly sure what your budget looks like or what you have available.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to offer?
It's easier to respond when you know what people are looking for than trying to guess.
Yes, sir.
So that's the reason for the question.
Mhm.
Because administration will make a recommendation to council when we deal with the delegations to refer this to administration to prepare a report to council with a recommendation on those particular items. So,
Okay.
super. Thanks,
Perfect.
Madam
Thank
Mayor.
you, Mr. Vincent. If there's no further questions, well, thank you very much
Thank
for
you
your
so much for
presentation
your
this
time. I
morning.
appreciate
We
it.
appreciate you coming out and joining us. And yeah, I think you've got great compassion and excitement and yeah,
Thank you
just
so much.
hopefully everything comes into fruition and works out for you and you're able to
I
pursue
have
this.
a little gift for you from our sponsors. Do you mind if I give that to you?
Oh, yeah, sure. You're wanting to do something nice in the community and for dogs and for future pet owners. Oh, wow. Oh, cute. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Yeah, I squeak. Yeah, that is loud. Thank you very much. We wish you the most success in your adventure. And as Mr. Vincent had mentioned, he'll bring back a request to council and then we'll go from there. So that wraps up our delegations this morning. Business arising from the delegations. First up was Pembina Regional Aerodrome. We'll talk about this a little bit further on our decision items. Alberta Forest Productions Association, they're asking for a letter of support. Did we exchange from Rory? Did we exchange a little? Oh, so we got something from Rory. So we can follow up with that. We'll have a conversation around policy that supports the Build for Wood Act. As well as Jocelyn had exchanged cards there for the Dirt to Door, if Warehousers wanting to come and join us and maybe have an opportunity to speak to that a little bit. All Paw Rescue Society, Mr. Vincent had mentioned that this will be a conversation coming for further discussion to council. And before we move into our decision item, we'll call a 5 to 7 minute break and then we'll reconvene. AM. I heard you say, Mr. Vincent, that there was a couple of resolutions coming out of our delegations this morning. Do we want to?
Mayor, yes, I'll ask the Ledge Services staff to put that up on the screen if you're able to do so. You can't put it up? Okay, could you please read out the proposed resolution with regards to the matter of the Pembina Regional Aerodrome Association, please?
So we do have a decision item coming up. Oh, no, sorry, that's West Central. Sorry, got that mixed up. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. So Pembina Regional Aerodrome Association resolution.
Regular meeting of council.
So bring back a request for decision at the April 23rd
23rd, please.
regular meeting of council minutes. Is there a member of council that would like to make that motion?
Council meeting, yes, correct.
Sure.
Go here. Okay, I'll make the motion to direct administration to bring back a request for decision at the April 23rd council meeting in regards to the request for funding from the Aerodrome Association.
That was perfect. Thank you.
So,
Councillor
okay.
Evans made the motion. And we have that captured. Any comment, question, debate on the motion this morning? My only comment is that I know we talk about economic diversity and supporting economic development in the community. And I do consider our asset to be our airport to be a huge asset for Drayton Valley. So I'm looking forward for this request for decision to be coming to the April 23rd regular meeting of council minutes. If there's no further comments, then I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Hey.
Thank you for that. That is carried. Next up, we'll have a resolution for 7.2 Alberta Forest Production Association. And I'm assuming the resolution will be for the letter of support.
Please go ahead.
Council provide a letter of association to be for a premier and MP.
Councillor Sheriff, would you like to give this one a try? Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that the council will provide a letter of support to be forwarded to MLA, Premier, and the MP.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? This is an easy one, I think, a letter of support supporting our forestry industry and pushing back too on the tariffs that are coming into our country. So I'll call the motion from Councillor Sheriff. All in favor? Thank you for that. That is carried. And 7.3, do we have a resolution coming
Yes.
out of this?
Yes, we do, Madam Mayor. And I'll ask the manager of ledge services to read it out, please.
Direct administration to prepare a report to council regarding their request from All Paw Rescue Society regarding
So when we're asking for administration to prepare a report in the request for the funding, are we wanting to have a discussion first if we're needing more information, we're in support, or are we, I guess you can make whatever motion you want, but for me, I guess it's very, I do have a little bit of questions because it is premature. They don't have an actual location. The business was just registered. I would want to have probably conversations with Cause for Critters. That's something that is ran under the town of Drayton Valley. So I'm not sure here.
I'm
Councillor
on board
Evans?
with you, Nancy.
Yeah, Colin, you're feeling about the same, that we're wondering if it needs to come as a report back to council?
Yes.
So Madam Mayor, may I suggest simply council pass a resolution to accept the presentation as information?
Councillor Evans, do you have a comment?
Yeah. If we do get a report from administration, I think we don't necessarily need to make a decision at that point to give them funding. We can, of course, accept that report for information, but we will then, I think, get some more information on the interaction between the two. Maybe a little more clarification on what their plans are and what they're looking for from us. And again, the point I'm making is, just because we get the report doesn't mean we need to say, okay, we're going to give you funding or we're not going to give you funding. We can simply have a discussion at that point in time and look at all the variables. Because I'm concerned as well, where are they planning on setting up? And is that going to be an issue? Because chances are these dogs are going to be outside. Much of the time there is going to be a noise consideration that I think would have to be taken into account for wherever they decide to set up. So yeah, there's a lot of questions here that we don't have answers to. So I guess what do you think, Mr. Vincent? Is it worthwhile getting a report and filling in some of these blanks that we're missing, or should we just accept it as information and wait before we do anything?
Madam Mayor, administration would propose that we would prepare a report for full consideration of the matter. There are 6 items that were asked for in the presentation, which included assistance in the identification of a location. So we would report what assistance we could provide, and hopefully through those efforts, the location is identified. Second one was support in networking and sponsorship, which is something I think we could do very easily that wouldn't cost any money whatsoever. Third one was endorsement of any of their grant applications, which I think would be appropriate. Next one was funding in the amount of up to $10,000. Administration would take a look at that and may not necessarily recommend any funding whatsoever, depending, as Councillor Evans has indicated, all of the other factors. And as Mayor Dodds has indicated, how does it impact other operations supported by the town? And finally, that the town participate in events that are being sponsored or put on by All Paws, which could be simply, attendance at a ribbon cutting ceremony, or we might individually or as a corporation buy a ticket to a fundraiser, for example, as being active participants. So I'd like to have the opportunity to look at it more fully and bring back a full report to council at this time. And it's no commitment on behalf of mayor and council of doing anything other than giving the administration the opportunity to explore all facets of that, how we possibly could respond, and then council make a decision on all of those particular items as part and parcel of it.
Thank you for that. Councillor Gamana, do you have a question?
No, just a comment. I guess Mr. Vincent kind of covered that. I think having a report back is okay. As you mentioned, Madam Mayor, I think it's premature for any funding as of now, but working with the group and I guess molding and working closely with them where the location and all that will be prudent for us when this is going forward. So, spending time to work with the group to get some answers, and maybe with the report we can go from there. So I'm in favor of getting a report from administration. Thank you.
Thank you for that. If there's no other questions, is there a member of council that would like to make a motion?
Would you, Madam Manager, Legislative Services, repeat that motion, please, and slowly?
That council direct administration to prepare a report to council regarding the request from All Paw Rescue Society. And I would not necessarily say regarding funding, but possibly regarding the ask from the delegation.
Prepare a report to council. I would just say prepare a report to council on the request from the All Paw Society, because there's like 6 different things to outline.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Evans?
Okay, I'll make the motion to direct administration to prepare a report for council regarding the requests from All Paw Rescue.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? And Mr. Vincent, will we reach out to Cause for Critters and kind of get a take on how they're feeling about this, and as well as Cody, to ensure that conversation has happened and how this particular society would kind of, I guess, the role that he would be offering in this?
Yes, yes, yes.
I was having trouble getting it up this morning. Thank you, and thank you.
Madam Mayor, it was certainly my intent to delegate this particular responsibility to Protective Services, to the General Manager, Tom Thompson, and through him to Cody Rosing, the Sergeant for the CPOs. And most importantly is to ensure that we have that conversation, that it be a full report. We've examined all of the options and all of the aspects of what potential impacts are, and that be included in the report. And knowing Sergeant Rossing and how thorough he is, and the reports I've seen from him, I have no doubt all of that will be covered. But in our council debriefing at 3:30 this afternoon, we'll be going through that with staff.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So there's a motion on the floor by Councillor Evans to prepare a report to council for the request from the All Paw Society. With that, I'll call the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
In favor.
And that is carried. And that wraps up our business arising from our delegations. We only have one business, our decision item this morning, 9.1, which is West Central Airshed Society 30th Anniversary Celebration. This is Mr. Vincent this morning.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We received correspondence dated March 4th from Yvonne Barker, the engagement coordinator for the West Central Airshed Society. They'll be hosting their 30th anniversary celebration at the CETC on May 28th of this year. The society is requesting a waiver or a donation of $630 for this event. The amount requested is the total amount associated with the rental of CETC being utilized for this event. And we do note that the town of Drayton Valley is a collaborating partner with the WCAS. The event will include a welcome from the town of Drayton Valley, lunch, air quality monitoring history, and much more. We would respectfully recommend council consider the following recommendation. And the recommendation that's in the package is going to be changed somewhat. That council approve the request from the West Central Airshed Society for a donation, not a waiver, a donation in the amount of $360 for the community event on May 28th. The reason for the change in the recommendation is that we want to stay away as much as possible from waivers. And certainly our partner Brazeau County is on board with waivers up to $500. But if we provide a donation and council has a donation budget, then effectively 50% of that gets covered by our partners as a deficiency in the rental in the building. So it only ends up costing us $315, and we share that with Brazeau County. So that's the rationale. So again, the recommendation is for a donation in the amount of $630.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Vincent. In the letter here, it says that the West Central Airshed Society is collaborating with the town. Are we just collaborating on the ask here, or how are we participating in this?
I believe we sit at these particular meetings. We're a full participating partner, but I'd ask Deputy Mayor Sheriffs.
Just being a
Yes.
partner and sitting at the table?
We are, I do sit on that committee, on the board, and I believe there will be an ask from either mayor or myself to do a welcoming speech at the event as well.
Okay, I guess the reason I'm asking is I'm looking at this is how does this differ from any other ask or society or, you know, I guess, organization that a council is appointed to, because we talked about whether we donate or waive those fees, then you have to consider doing that for everything, right? So for me, I guess I'm trying to find a reason that why I would approve this, because then it just opens up the door for everything, so.
Madam Mayor, through the chair to all members of council, it has in the time I've been here, a practice of council to consider each request individually. And in the past, we've provided waivers, which became awkward in terms of getting approval. And so the thought process I had was, since we have budget, it is the organization that we participate with, that it would be far better from a financial perspective and administrative perspective to provide a donation as opposed to a waiver. Effectively, it's the same. It's just a quicker way, and by which we don't bear the brunt of the entire amount of the request, but we can cost share it on a 50-50 basis. So it's a financial savings in supporting those particular initiatives. And I think from the perspective, my selling point is that we're the center of the region, and the West Central Airshed Society looks for the leadership from Drayton Valley. So it's a way to wave the banner, to wave the flag here because of what the importance is, and goes back to one of our strategic priorities, and that's with respect to the environment. So those would be all reasons that I would find to submit a request for support to the recommendation.
Also, Drayton Valley was the first location for the air monitor. So that brings this 30-year anniversary, because we were the first ones to actually have it in there.
Thank you. Councillor Evans?
But there's air monitors all over the place. Yeah. Can you tell me what we pay a year to be a member of the Airshed Society?
Sorry?
300 a year?
So I guess,
And that is the same society that provided the air monitor here in the library, and there is one at the CTC.
do you have another question, Councillor Evans?
No.
So I guess I'm having a bit of trouble here because I'm trying to decipher how this is different from All Paw Rescue Society that will be hosting an event at the CTC if they asked for the event space to be donated, or the Chamber of Commerce that came and requested for the space, or how is this different? Because I guess I worry again that even if we call it a waiver or a donation, once we start doing this and we don't share the facility or cost share the facility with Brazeau County, it's just the town. So how is this request, or it's not different?
I don't think it's any different.
It's no
Ms.
different.
Roderick.
Okay.
No.
Any questions from Councillor Gamano or Councillor Clark?
None for me.
Okay.
I'm okay.
So if there's, thank you for that. If there's no other questions, there is a recommendation. There also is a motion there. There's an alternative motion if anyone's wanting to make a motion.
No.
Councillor Sheriff, are you wanting to make a motion? Sure.
All right, I'll make the motion that council approve the request from the West Central Airshed Society for donation in the amount of $630 for the community event on May 28, 2025.
Thank you very much for your motion. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Councillor Evans?
Sorry to belabor this. Is the Airshed Society funded by province? Do you know?
I don't know.
And again, I'm just trying to get my head around who is it reasonable to give them some financial assistance to rent our facilities, and where do we draw that line? I guess that's what I'm just trying to get my head around, and whether, you know, if they're receiving funding from the province, et cetera, then I don't think it's unreasonable for them to pay for a venue as part of their operations, I guess. But, you know, in the end, are they any less worthy than some of the other organizations we've given this to? So that's just what I'm kind of struggling with.
I'm actually not sure if they get any funding. I mean, I know there's grants, but I'm not sure if they're actually regularly funded. I think it's more membership based. And I know that there's some companies that use their monitors that pay for their monitor rental or buying. Yeah, as far as I know.
Yeah, and I know in previous conversations with them that they do have a lot of companies in the area that are participating and paying for that participation.
Right. Madam Mayor, I just referred to the last line in the letter from Yvonne dated March 4th. While maintaining independence, WCES has been entrusted by the government of Alberta with the responsibility of monitoring our air and ensuring all stakeholders have access to and understand this important information. So reflects upon Councillor Evans' comments and the Deputy Mayor's comments that there's a multitude of stakeholders in the region who are beneficiaries of this particular service. So I think that puts a context for me in terms of their role.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. So there's a motion on the floor. If there's no further comment, question, debate, Then I will call the motion I'll call the motion for, what was the motion that you made again? Was to support? Approve the request for the West Central Airshed Society for a fee waiver in the amount of 600,
For a donation as
oh,
opposed.
sorry, for a donation in the amount of $630 for the community event on March 28th, 2025. All in favor? All opposed?
Opposed.
Counselor Gamana?
Opposed.
Okay, that is defeated.
Ah,
Yeah, it's always, I mean, I think it's fantastic that they're celebrating 30 years and that we sit at the table. It's important, but I guess my only concern is that once we start donating, our site rentals, then we have to consider doing it for everybody, right? So even though everybody serves a purpose and a good cause, it's never easy. Yeah, we have to be careful, right? So we wish them the best and we'll be excited to attend their anniversary celebration when they come too. So will we be getting an invitation or, yeah? Okay, perfect. Okay, so that wraps up our decision items this morning. We'll jump to council reports. Councillor Clark, you were up first. Already.
Yeah, couple of things. Attended the childcare board meeting yesterday. Lots of discussion at the board about, I guess what the changes are coming to the childcare funding model. One of the big questions that kind of arose around the table was like, the federal government offered $1.5 billion per year, with an additional 3% over the course of the next 3 years per year. And it was rejected by the minister, Minister Jones. And so now essentially what families are facing is, some are not paying very much and others are paying more. And now they've really taken an about face in terms of, what quality childcare looks like. And so there's lots of people that are still left scratching their heads even after the consultations online. So there's a couple asks from the board and recommendations that I'd like to make to council today. And one is issue a letter requesting, requesting some information as well as an in-person meeting with Minister Jones, just to chat about this, to help us better understand, how turning down $1.5 billion is beneficial for Albertans, especially those that need it the most. And the other ask was the minister. Yeah, I'll think of it. The other thing was getting together with the county as well. I mean, the county is 50-50 partners in this. And then the other thought is kind of getting together with Jasper as well as Beaumont, because they're in the same boat as us in terms of municipally run childcare facilities. So that's one ask, was penning that letter to the minister in consort with the county. Excuse me. And really the only other thing that's kind of popped up, just wanted to kind of make a note of it, was St. A's, it's the 60th anniversary on May 24th of that school being in town. I think that's worthy of celebrating in some manner, whether it's attending or, I don't know, providing a plaque or something like that. And it's interesting because the 60th anniversary kind of comes with the announcement that they've bumped St. A's replacement school up to number 1 in the queue. So that school hopefully will be built in the next year or so, probably 2. But anyway, a couple of things on my mind, and that's all I have.
Thank you very much for your report. Out of Councillor Clark's report, could we have a conversation with Brazeau County, maybe, and Jasper and Beaumont, just get their take, and then maybe see about, after we have that conversation, about sending a joint letter perhaps or something?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we'll, administration will deal with it this afternoon at our follow-up meeting and put those wheels in motion to arrange for those two meetings.
Perfect, wonderful, thank you. And then you had
Sorry,
mentioned
Nancy.
also, sorry, go ahead, Colin.
I just wanted to interject one more thing. It just popped up in my mind here. The other thought was from the board was to, would the town support any sort of petition from the parents and the users of the ECDC, to send to the ministry?
Yeah, we can have a conversation about that. Typically, how many, you need 20% of the population for a petition, is that? For a population size?
Well, there's a couple different approaches to that. So if you want, like for a municipal referendum, talk about petition, then you have to follow the rules of the MGA, but simply supporting the parents to circulate a petition that they could submit to the minister outlining their views, I think is what the request is, or from what I understand, certainly giving them, the verbal support and verbal and moral support, I think is more than appropriate, since we're going to be embarking on discussions with other childcare centers, as well as intending to request a minister with our meeting with the minister. Certainly whatever can be done at the local grassroots level and putting a parents petition together and submitting that to the minister. I see nothing wrong with mayor and council supporting that particular initiative. Tell them, go for it.
Is it a conflict of interest because it's a municipally owned daycare that we would be encouraging that petition, or is that something that we would want to tell the parents to, if they're wanting to do it, to take it on themselves, to kind of separate that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and then the May 24th, you mentioned 60th anniversary. Perhaps we invite them to council. I know that was something that Councillor Evans had brought some time ago. When we're celebrating birthdays and anniversaries and things like that, we could present them with a little certificate at the council meeting prior to that.
Yes.
If that works. Okay. Councillor Evans, your report this morning? You weren't ready, were you?
No, I was not ready, but I'll bumble my way through it here. Not too much to report. The 13th attended the charity golf meeting. Covered what organizations we'd like to donate to, etc. Just a few odds and ends there, the nuts and bolts required. On the 18th, chaired the Sustainability Committee meeting. And as I was stating today, we then reviewed some of the information on the waste to power that was presented to council just for the committee there. So they were in the loop. Let me see. And I'm going to bring up at the roundtable our participation in Earth Day, so I'll leave that off, I guess. We've also been slowly reviewing the various plans and documents that we have that's sort of connected to sustainability. The most recent one was the Social Development Plan. Again, many of these documents are a year or 5 old. So we're just going through them and deciding whether they should be renewed, whether there's anything within them that we can pull out as a committee and pursue, and then we move on to the next one. So that's kind of our process in that regards. Didn't get much of anything out of the Social Development Plan. Some community gardens possibly, but they've been tried in the past with limited success from our understanding. So we kind of talked a little bit about maybe if we wanted to consider them close to some of the retirement facilities as opposed to where they were previously, just because the retired folks seem to enjoy that and gives them a chance to get out for some fresh air and own a little piece of a garden. So if we feel we should push that, we'll bring that back to council. And having conversations with other municipalities about recycling and organics recycling and what they're doing and if they're having any success. It's a tricky project. It's a great idea, and it'd be nice if you just had to dump the grass and leaves and stuff in a pile, and voila, you end up with beautiful black dirt. But there's a lot more to it than that. It takes babysitting to make it happen and keep it at the right temperature, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess I'll end there. We changed our schedule to we're going to be meeting in the afternoons now on the third Tuesday, as there was a conflict there. So I'll leave it at that. And lastly, just attended the GNP meeting on the 20th. That's it for me. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for your report. Councillor Gamana?
Thank you. Just a few things. 13th had the Community Safety Committee, as well as in the afternoon Shelter Boards Committee meeting there. So nothing, all lot to report. Business as usual for shelter pods. There's the challenges that always have, but other than that, it's business as usual. On the 18th to 20th, had the opportunity to go to the RMA, Rural Municipalities of Alberta conference there. And of course had the opportunity to have a few chats with the county council, touch base with them, as well as I had a quick chat with the Deputy Chief of Staff, Patrick, as well there, while the Premier was attended the conference. Also, I met a interesting gentleman there. His name is Kelly Carter. He's the CA of Alberta Wildlife Conservation Association. Alberta Wildlife Conservation Association. So he kind of handles the, it's a non-profit organization, but somewhat funded from the province as well. So he said that, part of his mandate is actually to have education camps, day camps for kids. And I was like, do you do outside of Alberta, Calgary and Edmonton, and would you come to a rural setting like ours? And he was open for that. Maybe what I'll do when I recover from what I'm going through here now, I'll have a chat with Pat, if you don't mind, and then, pass you the contact information and see if there's the opportunity to bring a day camp to Drayton Valley through their organization. Other than that, I've been under the weather since then. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. Councillor Sheriffs.
So on March 10th, we had a Zoom meeting with the Dane Lloyd, MP of Parkland, and he gave us a little bit of an update of some of the rezoning changes that might be coming. When it comes to those areas, I was away on holidays for a little while and then joined the GMP via Zoom. Also the Poverty Interagency Committee meeting. That one is through the Healthy Communities Coalition. And Lola did the presentation on the report that council has received. I think it was last year, but it was based on the 2023 numbers of homeless and shelter pods and such. It's not really updated because it's from, I think it was done in 2023, but it's actually from 2022. So I'm sure the numbers have definitely changed because I myself have noticed quite a few new unique individuals around town lately. So I attended the Alberta Healthcare update on some of the changes that are being proposed and might be coming up. And there's a lot of promises. We'll just see how that goes. And tomorrow I have, there's public consultation with the Eleanor Pickup Arts Center, which I would encourage community to attend. It's regarding their expansion. And the joint coffee with council in the evening tomorrow. I think it's at MCC, right? Yeah, I'd also encourage public to attend. And if they have any questions, I think there's some potential for, if you want to be a counselor, questions and some answers. So that's about it.
Thank you very much for your report. For myself, I attended the charity golf meeting. It was nice to identify the 3 charities that we have chosen for the tournament this year. Can I mention the 3 charities? We had chosen, we picked 3. We had quite a list to go through, so it's always hard to pick one, but we picked 3. The first one being the Stollery. Second was the Sim Lab at the hospital that's being built. And the third was a women's shelter. I believe that is it Healthy Communities Coalition that is doing that for supporting women escaping domestic violence? Glenn had that letter, and I think it's Jessica Doucette and Trisha Howes. They're leading that project, so we'll have to get a little bit more detail on that as that comes to fruition. I attended a meeting with Alberta Council, the RMA conference as well with Councillor Gramana, Mid-Sized Towns Mayor's Caucus. It's nice to see that we presented at, or we had a session at Alberta Spring Leaders Caucus, and we were 15 going in, and now we're 30. So we have 30 out of the 84 rural small towns in Alberta. So it's nice. Next time we have our meeting with the Premier and MacGyver, it's nice to say that we are growing, and we need a change when it comes to our funding for sure. We can't keep increasing taxes. And that is it for me for my report. Is there a member of council that would like to accept the council reports as information?
I can do
Councillor
that.
Evans? Oh, Councillor Clark, thank you very much for that. I was looking at these two always here. I thought maybe you two were napping in between the motions. I understand you're both under the weather, so it's acceptable. Thank you for the motion, Councillor Clark. I'll now call the motion. All in favor?
In favor.
That is carried. Thank you very much for that. We'll jump into council items, roundtable discussion. First up is Deputy Mayor Sheriffs. You wanted to discuss the Ring Road.
I did. I actually had 2 questions. One was, I was pretty sure that we did make a motion last year to change the speed limit to 60 kilometers an hour all through the town's portion of the Ring Road. And I was asked why it hasn't been changed yet. I don't have an answer for that.
Madam Mayor, this is Chair to Madam Deputy Mayor. I don't have an answer, but I'll have one for you by this afternoon.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
So, yeah, if I could just confirm is that the entire Ring Road around the town, the approval from council was to have a posted speed limit of 60 along the entire road.
That was my understanding, yes, because it varies between 50, 60, and 80, all the way to the old HW pickup school, sort of. So I wasn't sure what the actual distance was that we decided on, but I know we did decide to make a little bit of changes because it's a little bit confusing, so.
I'll go back to the council members' minutes to confirm what that resolution says, and we'll ensure it's followed through to the letter of the resolution.
Okay.
It's done.
And second thing, right across from McDonald's along Highway 22, on the east side of the highway, we have that ugly trailer with the swimming pool advertisement. I don't even know what it is and what. Could we really get rid of it? I've asked about it last year and it never moved.
Well, I think the answer was, I
Section.
do remember you asking, and I think wasn't the answer because we're still continuing ongoing sponsorships? Because we brought it, and what was,
I'm just wondering how long the sponsorships are because it's getting rusty and ugly. And
can't remember, yeah. That would be a Hans. Is Hans? No, Hans is away as well.
It's okay. We will find that information and I'll get a response back. And if there's appropriate action to be taken, guess what? It shall be taken.
Because I was thinking, I understand, like, it's a big trailer and there's just a couple little plaques with some kind of sponsorship. We can maybe move them closer to the swimming pool if that's the only thing that's really preventing it from being moved.
Yeah.
Maybe, right? I don't know. I mean, I understand it would have to be a decision item, but it's, I have been contacted by members of public about it and I myself agree with them. So that's it.
I'll follow up in the matter and it shall be done.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I do think there was a motion too for changing that to 60 kilometers. I know we went back and forth with increasing it and decreasing it, and we want it to stay consistent rather than having the mixed, right?
Exactly. But Colin, do you remember that? Because I know you wanted it a little bit higher and I think we settled on 60.
I think Colin was pushing for 100 on the ring road. Is that right, Colin?
Well, yeah, I wanted to twin it and make it 110. So
Yeah.
no, I
It
think
wasn't
it
in the
was
budget,
60. Yeah, it was 60. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the way through, right?
Mhm. That's what I understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except for the windy portion is county. So
Oh, that was the only one that maybe we thought we couldn't change. Is it 60 there though? Yeah, it is 60.
no, it's 50. Yeah, so it's 50 from Tim Hortons on the south side,
Yeah.
east to the bends, and then it's 60 shortly after the bends, all the way to just after the coulee, north of the treatment plant.
So the town lands are right up to the first, I guess, road going into the development. And then, yeah, it's just that little corner is the 50 that the county owns. Councillor Evans, did you have a comment?
Yeah, and even if we posted it at 60, right from the beginning all the way through, if our CPO feels that 60 is too fast for that corner, we can always put a yellow
That caution,
suggested,
yeah, suggested, yeah.
suggested speed just for that corner. But yeah, I think we all agreed that we'd like to keep it consistently at 60 throughout there. I just don't know if we ever made an actual motion to change it over. Lots of conversations. but
Yeah.
Not sure of a motion.
We will confirm everything we've got on the books and we'll follow up. And if there isn't a resolution, guess what? You'll hear about it next council meeting. We'll get a resolution. And at the same time, I'll speak with my colleague, friend, and counterpart at the CEO at the county to see if we can coordinate things so that it is consistent through that entire area. So I think they'll be cooperative with us.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Is that everything, Deputy? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Councillor Evans, you had Earth Day celebration. Planting seeds? Oh, perfect. Okay, so Councillor Evans just handed out a customizable vegetable seed packets, little information piece to us.
So, yeah, Earth Day, April 22nd. So we'll have a sustainability committee meeting the week before. And I can touch base with Sandra at that point in time to arrange for the actual distribution of the seeds, whether that'll be a couple of members of the sustainability committee or how that might work. But I'm just looking to council to kind of give us the go-ahead on this. Let me see. Here we go. But I'm going to need a budget. The cost for the 500 packs is $520 plus shipping. So let's say $600 if council supports this initiative. And I think we'd just kind of give a couple, 3 packages with each barrel that's going out, or anybody else who wants them. Again, just trying to assist folks with the price of groceries these days. If they can grow a few groceries in their garden, I think it's worthwhile for the few $100s. But yes, maybe you can comment, Mr. Vincent, on where I might get a budget from.
I believe we have a budget. The sustainability had $5,000. Yeah.
I have $5,000?
We have lanterns too.
I was keeping it under the table for a while, but
Yeah.
now I'm exposed. It's a,
You know me too well. You give me that money, I'm gonna.
Didn't want to let you have
Good
control of that money.
Okay.
yeah, there's sufficient money in.
Look at how excited he is.
Yeah, we could make some moves here.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I just kind of kept looking at hands and saying, well, we need, $300 for this or $200 for that. And boy, now I can really squeeze them for some cash.
I think we did that the year before. Well, we had it there actually, we did that years and years ago, but I think we carried it forward just because of the lanterns on the pond and any sort of other events that may come back. So there wasn't a constant request. I think just
Yeah.
as long as you report at your council, to say, hey, this is what we're doing. What do you guys think? We want to do
Sure.
the seeds, and everyone gives the thumbs up. I think that's kind of how it still works.
Okay, well, I'll see what kind of a budget I got left and we'll go from there. I think we're
You've got
doing.
dollar signs in your eyes right now. Look at them.
Yeah, yeah, we can do some good here. Instead of
Don't
just
forget about
kinda
lanterns on the pond. That's a big
fumbling
thing
around.
this fall.
Yeah, and the lanterns on the pond is, keeps getting a little bit bigger and a little bit better, I think, every year. So we'll,
Floating pond with the band,
there you go.
or floating, what's that floating, gazebo, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see about that. I only have $5,000. So. Anyway, that's
Might get a
that's
dinghy.
good to know. Yeah, I think that's about, we had an email regarding a fence beside a walkway. Anybody else see that?
I might have seen that.
Yeah,
Just to go back to your
I
seeds,
saw
I think
that,
it's fantastic that your guys are doing this. I think it's great in partnership with, this year it's Weyerhaeuser, last year it was Pembina that did the barrels, rain barrels. And that's Sandra from EPBR.
Yeah, I may have misspoken there.
Oh,
Yeah, it's through Sandra, so it probably is Pembina again.
oh, okay.
Sorry, I thought I had Weyerhaeuser on my mind.
That's
I
okay.
thought it was them.
And then, so with this coming forward, you mentioned, April 22nd. How are you putting the word out for the seeds and for the barrels?
Well, we're not at the moment, but.
But
we
you
sh-
will?
We should, yeah.
Okay. I just know that last year, a little bit in the community, there was a bit, I mean, of course, we do get that, but there was a, how do I get a barrel? How did I know? So is that something that's been brought to you, Jen, from the Sustainability Committee? So
Okay,
maybe
we'll, and I'll get a hold of Sandra as well, and then we'll have all the facts.
yeah,
and
just
then
if we're
get 'em to
trying
you.
to let people know, that would be great.
Yeah, you betcha.
And then you can
Thanks
just
for that.
remind us a little bit closer. I think it's a great initiative that you're doing.
Will do. Will
Okay,
do.
so there is no approval then, Mr. Vincent? It just, yeah, you brought it now to our attention, and
Perfect.
be mindful of your dollars there. And then you had your second question or second issue was the email that we received in regards to a fence?
Yeah, it was, you didn't see that? I'm sure the CEO was on there too.
Councillor Clark? You'd made
Yes,
a-
I saw it, and this is pertaining to that Peace Park conversation we've had. I think we had that last year, and the decision. at
Okay,
the
so
time
it's the same
was-
fence?
That's correct. Just on the west side of that park, I believe.
Well,
So
I think,
excuse me for interrupting, Madam Mayor, to the chair, to you, Councillor Evans, or to you, Councillor Clark, if you could forward me a copy of that email, I can check it out, what it's all about, and provide whatever follow-up is required. Pretty simple.
Yeah, and then there's
Okay.
a little bit of background history. I think that may be Shelley, because we did, as Councillor Clark had mentioned, we did receive a letter similar to this last year, and I thought we dealt with the issue, so maybe just circle back with
We-
Ms. Terry?
yeah, we did deal with the issue, and that was along the back fence,
Okay.
along all those lots, and we decided that the homeowner would be responsible for the fence. And one homeowner did approach me and asked that we let them all know that. But this particular email was in regards to a walkway that goes between two lots. And yeah, said that we had given financial help to the resident on the one side of the walkway. And now this was a request for the other side of the walkway. So a little different because it's a side yard fence, not the backyard. And I think because, and I know this will all come out in a report and stuff. I'll just throw this out there though, because in normal circumstances, you would share the cost of that fence with your neighbor. If you were neighbors and had
Yeah.
a side fence. That the logic was you help this one homeowner. Now, I'd like a little help for the other side fence. And I know that we had said back fence is your responsibility, the same it is for anybody else. Whether you back onto a park or an alley, whatever, town-owned lands, the back fence is your responsibility. I did receive a little inquiry about that too, and asked that all the residents along there could be informed that the back fence is now their responsibility, because it was built by the developer at the time, 30 years ago or whatever. So just a little history there.
Okay.
So we'll wait for
Mr. Vincent?
Mr. Vincent to bring us a report once I get the email to him if he doesn't have it.
Yeah, I forwarded it to him already.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Colin. Sure. One last comment?
Just to the two gentlemen online, Colin's mom has volunteered to bring you both some chicken noodle soup this afternoon.
Perfect.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you for that.
That's not true. Don't force her to do things that she doesn't have to do.
Oh, I was looking forward for that now.
Well, look what happens when you attend the meetings all the time. There's expectations from you. We appreciate you coming. I just have one question I see in my calendar. Rural Alberta Workforce Development for High School Students. Do we have a little bit more information on that? That's coming up on April 23rd. So it was come from Aaron. I guess this came from Aaron, Miss Neely. April 23rd. And I see Miss Christina from the county is on here, so I'm just wondering if it went to both the county and the town, what it is. Oh, that was this one. Okay, okay. So this is, okay. So this is Pat, myself. So this isn't all of council. This is just the Bart, myself. Okay. I did see another email come through and it was talking about the dual credit through, I think it was through HTA that was starting now. And there was a request there. So I wasn't sure if this was the same one. Just kind of catching up on emails here. And then we did have another one coming through in regards to animal concerns. Have we taken care of that internally? We have, okay.
Madam Mayor, I believe that was with regards to the dog issue out front of Town Hall and Library.
Okay, so we've
And,
dealt with that?
We've dealt with that. What we did was actually put up a sign that animals were not allowed inside the building. And that's what had transpired, so.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, if there's nothing else, Councillor Gumana, Councillor Clark, do you have anything under roundtable discussions for this morning?
Nothing from me.
Nothing for me.
Okay, so that wraps up council items. We have one information item this morning, which is a letter from Minister Nate Horner in regards to the budget 2025. Is there a member of council that would like to receive this, to make a motion to receive this as information? Councillor Sheriffs?
I'll make a motion that council accepts this letter as information.
Thank you very much for that. Mr. Vincent?
Madam Mayor, just wanted to comment on, make a couple of comments. So the letter from the Honorable Rick McIver, March 14th, with regards to the education requisition, indicates that to meet the demands of the increased student population, revenue will be increased by 14% from last year to a total of $3.1 billion. This increase will be reflected on property tax bills that municipalities send to property tax owners in 2025. How, never a more true statement. If you turn to page 3, you will see specifically for the town of Drayton Valley, the residential increase on our property taxes will be 14%. And on the non-residential, commercial, business, industrial, it will be 12% increase. This is as a result of the province changing its tax rate and also coupled with increase in assessment. So it's going to be very important. We've talked about this already at the senior executive team. When the tax rate bylaw comes forward, council will have to be articulate and stress that the increase in taxes, the huge increases in taxes that our residents will face is not our doing. We're simply the collector. In fact, I see the city of Calgary last week has proposed to charge the province for collecting the education requisition. So things are heating up in the province. And if you know municipal history, back in the 50s, school boards used to collect their own taxes. And then that got transferred to local municipalities. The telling part, and it's part of the story we need to help our residents understand, is on the education property tax fact sheet. And it's the fourth paragraph in the first column, and I'd like to read it. Under the provincial funding model, all education property taxes are pooled by Alberta Education through the Alberta Education Foundation Fund and distributed to public and separate school boards on an equal per student basis. So residents of Drayton Valley should not be fooled into thinking their increased property taxes is going to support our local school divisions and school operations. The majority of that money is going to Edmonton and Calgary, whose increased student enrollment is where that money is going to be redirected to. So it's part of the story and people need to understand that. So I just felt, Madam Mayor, an obligation to bring that forward to council and to share that with the community so there's no misunderstanding later on.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, that was one of the resolutions at the Spring Leaders Caucus, is to stop relying on the municipalities to be collecting this on their behalf, because of course, this is where that mixed communication, and then of course, we get the heat from the residents thinking that we've increased the taxes and that we're just the middleman that wasn't, you know, we weren't asked to be in this position. So it's quite unfair. My understanding was, and I think that Elvira might have communicated it this last year as well, is when you go to pay your taxes in that school portion, you can request where you want your funds to be directed. And I don't know if you have, if it's, I don't think it could be this, is it the school or is it the board? Do you recall, Ms. Stone? Because you can request where you want them to go. It can go to public or private, but is it the school?
Public or separate?
Is it the school board? So you could say St. Aquinas or Wild Rose? It's not, it's just that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a requirement, a declaration that if you're a public school supporter and you want 100% of it to go to public school, you indicate it.
Yeah.
If you're a separate school supporter, you indicate
That's
it.
the only control we have. Yeah.
If you are of a mixed marriage, you can choose to split it 50-50, a mixed religious marriage. You can go 50-50. And if you don't declare, then the province will make the determination.
Decision for you. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if you could say, oh yeah, I want this to go to this particular school.
Yeah, I thought
I
Alberta
have
had
my
said that it
taxes
was
go
a bit more
to my
specific.
elementary school in Lac-La-Biche, Alberta. What the heck?
Yeah. Does anybody have any other comments or questions on that, Councillor Evans?
Just a quick one. So when we send out the tax assessments, et cetera, will we be putting a note on there at the time or highlighting? Yeah, we will. Okay.
Madam Mayor, certainly it's going to be recommended and advantageous that there be a message from Mayor and Council to the residents as part of the package. And I know that Ms. Stone has probably already got it written up for me, so.
Yeah, she's on it. Perfect. Thank you very much for that. So
There's a motion on the floor.
there is a
Madam Mayor.
motion on the floor, and who made the motion?
Councillor Sheriffs.
Councillor Sheriffs made the motion. Thank you very much for that. All in favor?
Aye.
Colin? And that is
Yeah,
carried.
sorry, in favor. Yeah, it just took me a while to find the button.
That's okay. And that is carried this morning. And that wraps up our March 26, 2025 council minutes. And I will adjourn the meeting at 11:29. I'll ask Colin and Amila to stay online, please. We do have a CAO brief this morning.
Just a few items I need to.
Just a
bring
few
council
items.
Up to quick. up
We'll
to
take a
speed
5-minute break and then we will come back.
Thank you very much.